Panels in One Piece. One Piece is a long story with thousands, and I mean thousands, of brilliantly drawn panels that, in my opinion, are some of the best and well drawn in the whole manga industry. And I feel like personally, not that many people really talk about One Piece's panel work simply due to its art style not being as grand as other mangas. And so I'd like to go through some of my favorite panels throughout the whole of One Piece, bit by bit, arc by arc, starting in order with Romance Dawn. Now, Romance Dawn begins with Luffy's backstory in Fuchsia Village. Here we're introduced to a young Luffy, Shanks, and his crew as they have a few drinks after finishing their last voyage. Here in the bar, we meet the main antagonist of this chapter, Higuma the Bear and his gang of bandits. Higuma and his gang play a crucial role in what's one of the few active feats we have seen Shanks and his crew accomplish in all of One Piece. And it's here we see the first ever murder in One Piece committed by Lucky Roo. The panel itself shows off what I feel is a staple of One Piece, which is having the sound effects take over the whole page and do the talking rather than have the characters themselves do it during action. After handling the situation, Shanks decides to leave Luffy with a gift before leaving the village. He also gives some parting words to Luffy, culminating one of One Piece's most iconic panels.
この帽子をお前に預ける。俺の大切な帽子だ。大事にしろよ。
The chapter ends off with 17-year-old Luffy throwing not only the first named attack in the story, but also the first attack of Luffy's journey in a panel that shows off the striking dynamic ability of Oda's panel work.
俺の技を見ろ。ゴムゴムの
Chapter 2 is the Alvida chapter. It's not a really strong chapter, and being very honest, only one panel actually sticks out to me. It shows off what I would call the first misleading silhouette in the whole series, which will become a sort of staple in the series, and it happens to be Zoro's first mention in the story. Overall, chapter 2 is the weakest chapter in the whole arc. Chapter 3 is a much stronger chapter, introduces Zoro the Minority Hunter himself. The panel shows off one of the anime's best sound effects, while also playing on the silhouette shown in chapter 2. The two remaining panels in this chapter show off Zoro's full body for the first time, as well as his character design. The remaining panel shows off Zoro eating little girl's rice bowl that had been stepped on by Helmeppo, allowing us to understand who he is as a character, and that's showing that he is a good person and not who he thought. Chapter 4's leading panel of note allows the reader to understand who Captain Morgan is as a character almost immediately. He calls himself Great, allowing us to know what type of character he is and who he actually is as a leader. The other panel of note in this chapter is of Luffy destroying the Morgan statue and his reaction to destroying the statue, as it shows us who Luffy is and how he really does not care about authority and what it is. Chapter 5 to me is mainly known as the Zoro flashback chapter. Here we see young Zoro and his rival Kuina as they battle it out one final time to determine who is the better swordsman or woman, and the silhouettes once again are amazing, invoking the emotion of the scene and what it means to the two characters. After the flashback, we see Luffy standing in front of the bullets after they had shot at Zoro, showcasing for the first time in the story that bullets are rather a non-issue for the most part and should not really be considered a threat going forward. Chapter 6 is the highlight of the arc. It's the crescendo of the action in the arc and is the first fight we see of Zoro and Luffy having together as pirates. The panels here are dynamic and have so much life, from Zoro showcasing just how cool and calm he is, as well as our first showcase of where his third sword goes. Following that, we then get an amazing double page spread showcasing Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Whip, just showing how dynamically and well articulate Oda can draw his panels. We then see Helmeppo holding a gun to Kobe's head. This panel is only of note due to the 4Kids adaptation, where they chose a rather peculiar item to change his gun to.
Stop it! That punching bag! He's my father!
Yeah?
One more punch and say goodbye to your friend! I'll pummel his head flatter than the shape of the earth!
As the chapter ends, we then see an amazing panel of Luffy and Zoro standing tall after defeating Morgans and saving the town from his tyrannical reign. The chapter ends with Zoro finally announcing Luffy as his captain, and their journey begins as two pirates. The last chapter here in the Romance Dawn arc is carried by Kobe's character growth. He understands that Luffy has helped him and swears on his dream to become a Navy Admiral in future. This here closes Kobe's direct contribution to the story for the next couple hundred arcs, but lets the readers know he'll be back one way or another in future.
じゃ、行くか。おばちゃん、ごちそうさま。もう一個。僕を海軍に入れてください。雑用だってなんだって喜んでやります。海兵になるためなら。
中佐、私は反対ですよ。私はまだこの子を信用しきれません。海賊が海軍のスパイになるという例もあります。まずは君の素性を調べてみないことには。
僕は海軍将校になる男です。
The Romance Dawn arc overall is a great arc introducing us to One Piece's panel work and art style. It allows us to know what we should expect from Oda's art style as well as how he structures his panels. This is only the beginning, and we will see how Oda's art and panel work develops throughout this titan of a manga. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to be able to cover the rest of the East Blue as quickly as possible. Next, we will be going through and covering the amazing panels of the Orange Town arc, which is another stellar arc with dynamic panels and amazing storytelling. Thank you all and see you next time.